Hello, is my voice audible? Can anyone please unmute yourself and say response me? Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon all. So today, in the today's section, we will start our new concepts. That is the syllabus point of view. In the last few classes, so in the last week, we have discussed the basics in the computer organization. So from the today onwards, we will go start with our syllabus and the basic concepts in the first unit. Let us see what is the unit one and what are the syllabus in the unit one, and we will start our today's section. So let us share my screen regarding the syllabus. So this was the unit one, so which covers three basic topics. That is basic structures of the computers, data representation, and computer arithmetic. So these are the basic foundations. Already you are well known in the last semester. That is in the DLD, and some topics here are additionally added here. So we'll discuss in brief. And coming to this first unit, we are having the three different modes. That is, one is the basic structure of the computers, which deals with the basic organization. That is how the functional needs of the computer are, and historical view of the computers, and what is called a bus and bus structures. And coming to the other topic, that is data representation. That is how the data is represented in the computer, and what are different forms of data. And we will see what is the fixed point and floating point representation of the binary codes. And also we can see the what is the different error detection codes we are having. And later on, we will discuss about computer arithmetic. That is how we can perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division algorithms in the computers. So this is about some overview of the unit one. So we will discuss each and every topic in a brief. And this unit one is very important in the point of JNTUK examinations, as well as in the competitive exams, which we can have the basic idea regarding the different data which are used in the computer. So let us start with our today's concept in the unit one, that is the basic structure of the computers. So what was the today's agenda I am going to discuss here is in the today's section, I want to discuss these four concepts. That is, what are the function units of the computer, and what is called registers, and how registers are will be, and what are the different operational way how these computers are going to be executed, and what are different buses we are having. So we will see each and every concept in a brief. We will start with the first concept, that is function units. Already we have discussed in the last few classes about how a computer structure will be, and just we will look about again once again with a short overview of how the functional components of the computer will be work. And later we will see what are the registers and how the registers will be, and what is meant by register and where it is used. And later on we will see the other concept, that is operations and the buses. So we start with the functional units. And before starting the functional unit, I want to discuss about what are different types of computers we are having. So is my screen is visible to you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Okay, so let us start with different types of computers. Already we have discussed in the last sections, that is in the first basis of the computers. So we are having different types of computers which are used to perform the different calculations, or which are used to process different tasks which are generated by the user. So here are some examples of the computers. That is a personal computer, which is also called as a PC, and notebook computers, which are now what we are using now, and workstations and enterprise systems, as well as supercomputers. So already we are now familiar about all these things. Workstations. What are called workstations? So where we will develop different types of projects, or engineering applications, or with design works. We call them as a workstations. Simply we can call it as a just like our laboratories. So we are having some workstations which are worked with by the large number of people for their designing some projects. So enterprise systems. So what are called enterprise systems? So these are nothing but so which are used to operate the systems with a high power or a high computation power, and also having the large storage capacity. So examples in this enterprise systems are what are the applications we are using. Let us take a Facebook or any other applications. So there, where these systems are operated, entirely they can be called as enterprise systems. And coming to supercomputers, so they are used for the large scale numerical calculations, just like weather forecasting and autopiloting, etc. So these are the different types of computers. Already we have discussed in the last sections and the basic types of computers. So we'll go forward with the functional unit once again. So this is the structure of the computer, which is also called as a functional units of the computer. Already we have known about what is input unit and what is output unit. What is the task of these input and output units are to generate the data, to give the information to the processor, and it also generate the output information, that is which also take the output from the processor and display in a screens to the user. And coming to the processor, we are having the three components in the processor. So one is called memory, and the other is the ALU, and one more is called control unit. So these three combinedly will form the CPU. It's called central processing unit. And why we are separating this memory from the processor is, or one from the CPU is, it is an additional component, so which is just used for the storing of the data. And coming to the processor, so CPU contains a ALU and control units, which are called as the processing elements, so which are used to operate the instructions or which are used to execute the instructions given by the user. So I don't want to discuss in depth. Already we have discussed in the last few classes about these basic structures of the computers, or simply functionality of the computer. And I want to again discuss about the memory now. So coming to the memory, so we are having the two types of memory: primary memory and secondary memory. Already I have said what is the use of the primary memories and what is the secondary memory. So primary memories are the memories which are attached with directly with the processors. So simply we will call it as a RAM and ROMs. So RAM and ROM are called primary memories which are attached directly to the processor. So whatever the memory we are using here, so this memory can be either ROM or RAM. So already I have said what is the use of the RAM and what is the use of the ROM. So RAM is used to execute the present instructions which are run by the processor, and ROM is used to store the only one program, that is called bootstrap, which is used to load the operating system from the storage element into the processor. So wherever the process is located, is a processor is a hardware component. So to work with this hardware component, we want to give some instructions. So to run this processor or to run this hardware component, we want to give the instruction. So what is called an instruction? A set of program or a set of tasks to do. So whatever the processor want to do, we want to give the instruction. Without giving the instruction, the hardware does not do anything. For example, if you're taking any a microwave system, so you want to give some input, that is open the door, run with 1 minute, or heat the device with 2 minutes, etc. You want to give the instruction. So once the instruction is given to it, to do that the task which is given by the user, or which is given as taken as input, and do this process and give the execution, and finally the result is obtained. Similarly, to execute this processor, we want to give the operating system as an instruction. So this operating system is loaded in some memory. It's called as secondary memories. So primary memory does not contain the operating system. So secondary memory store the operating system. So to load the data from the secondary memories into this hardware, so we required a component that is called ROM. So read-only memory, which is used to store a single program, which is called a bootstrap. So this is about primary memories and secondary memory. And coming to the ALU, what is the task of ALU? To do the arithmetic, logic, and shift micro operations. So to do any arithmetic operations or logic operations, also to perform the shift operation. So what is called shift operation? So moving the bit place from one position to other position when a ratio operation is done. So this is about functional concepts of the computer. And among these functional concepts, we want to discuss about two things. One is called data and one is called memory. That's called addressing. So what is called data and what is called address? So for any information inside a computer, which you are taking as an input, from the input device, we will give some information to the memory, and from the memory it goes to the ALU, etc., etc. What the accessing or what the process is going on. So we will discuss this memory as a combination of two components. A memory can be combination of two components. One is called data and one is called address. So what is called data and what is called address? So data in the sense the information which is given as an input from the user, by the user or by the set of programs to the processor. So the processor take the action, or processor will do the task whatever the data it is getting. So what is the difference between the data and an address? So for example, if I say that there is a CRD college in Elur, so a CRD college is a data, and the location it is located in a Vatlur, so it is called an address. What is use of an address? An address is used to identify the particular data where it is located. So similarly, in a computer also, we are maintaining large amount of data. That is, large amount of instructions are executed by the processor. So once this processor is executing more number of instructions, so nothing but it can access more amount of data. There are multiple data in a computer. So there is no link between one data to other data. So the processor want to identify which data to be accessed, which data to be not to be accessed. So for the identification of this data, we will use an address. An address is used to identify the location of the data where it is currently locating. So a memory is a combination of data and addresses. So just try to remember data and addresses. So what a RAM contains? What a RAM contains? A RAM contains both data as well as address. Similarly, what a ROM contains? ROM contains also a data and an address. So the primary memories or secondary memories, any memory component will contain total two formats. One is data and one is addresses. So addresses are used to locate the identification of the data where it is having or where it is located, and data represent particular information or a particular memory component. Now let's go for the one simple concept. How or what are the memory systems contains? So in this function unit itself, I am defining my second agenda, that is registers. So what is register? What is meant by a register? So you have known about we are using a memory disk or a memory components or memory chips. Let us take your hard disk or any other memory component. So what an hard disk contains, or what your memory card contains, or your microchip contains. So a microchip is nothing but a memory storage component. So for every memory storage component, whether it's a primary memory or a secondary memory, so this memory is a combination of registers. Group of registers will form our memories. So what is called register? So what is meant by a register? So a register is nothing but group of flip-flop. So we have studied about what is called a flip-flop in the last year, in the last semester in the DLD. So a flip-flop, what is the use of flip-flop? A flip-flop is used to identify the states of a particular system or a particular design or a particular loop. So let us take a structure. If there is any structure, when an input is given to any component, so it generates some output based upon the particular functional component. So what is called a flip-flop is a flip-flop will change the state whenever an input is given to it. It can be in existing in the same state, or it can change the state to other value. That is either 1 to 0 or 0 to 1. This changing of the states or this changing of the states can be used to work with the memory storaging. So our registers, whatever the registers we are using, a register is a combination of flip-flops. So what is a flip-flop? A flip-flop is a memory storage element, or which a single bit of memory is stored. So what a register contains? A register contains a set of registers with a flip-flop, which is nothing but a single bit of information. So group of registers will form the memory. So we will see what is called register and what are different types of registers in a computer. Not only in a computer, in any other computer-based component, we are having this type of registers as a common. So we will see what are the different types of registers we are having. So what is called a register? Already I have said. So register are the type of memory used to quickly accept and store the information or transfer the data and the instructions that are being used immediately by the CPU. So whatever the CPU is immediately accessing, or whatever the CPU want to access the data, so this data want to be get from the registers. So the CPU does not has a link with the input units as well as output units. So whatever the functional components we are discussing here, so let us take these functional components. So we are having ALU, control unit, memory, and IO. So let us look here. This memory will act as an intermediate component between these two elements, between these two devices, that is IO devices as well as CPU. Between the CPU and the IO, we are acting a memory as an intermediate element. So what it means is, whenever the processor want to do anything, for example, I am entering a letter A from a keyboard. So this A want to be read by the CPU. It want to be understood by the CPU. That is, I am clicking the letter A, and it want to display that letter A into the monitor. That's called output unit. So in between this data accessing as a data generating, so the memory components will plays the major role, where we will use the registers as a memory component. So what is called registers, and what are different types of registers we are having? So these are the different types of registers we are using in computers. So let us call DR. DR stands for data register. AR stands for address register. Accumulator. AC stands for accumulator. And instruction register, program counter, temporary register, input register, and output register. So I will explain each and every register in a brief. Let us start with the data register. So what is called data register? So a data register is a register which is attached with the processor to store the data which is receiving from the IOs as well as to the IOs. That means whenever entering a key in a keyboard or whenever pressing some button in a mouse, so this action or this operation is received to the processor with the help of a data register. So what a data register has, it contains the data. For example, letter A. So what is called letter A? It's a just a hardware. I have clicked in the hardware component is clicked. Whenever this A is pressed, so automatically this keyboard has a processor. The processor will generate that particular word file or sorry particular data, that is letter A, in a binary format and sends that binary value into the processor. So this processor will store that binary value in the data register. Data registers are used to store the only the data, that is the binary information, that is zeros and ones. Now coming to the address register, what is AR? So address registers are used to store the address of a particular memory or particular data. So for example, I have pressed the letter A. So A is from the keyboard. Okay, let us talk about letter A is generating from the keyboard. So whenever this A is generated from the keyboard, in the same time or in a parallel in the parallel process, I am entering some other data from the mouse. I am using the virtual keyboard and entering the data from the mouse with the same letter A. So how the process will understand that the A is getting from my keyboard or from the mouse? So that is with the help of the address register. The task of the address register is to store the addresses of the particular data that is storing in the data register. Whatever the thing that is storing in the data register, for example, let it be binary word 1001. Let us take some binary information 1001. So 1001 is the data. So where this data is located, whether it is from the hard disk or whether it is from the RAM or from the ROM or from the keyboard or the mouse or any output device or input devices, the address register is used to store the address of particular data or particular data which is stored in the data register. So these two is clear. And now come to the accumulator. What is meant by accumulator? ACCUMULATOR. So it is the basic register, or simply it is also called as a processor register. So what is called processor register? The name itself is having processing. For example, I want to do 2 plus 2 in a computer. So 2, I am entering the value 2 in the keyboard. I am pressing the plus button in the keyboard, and again I am pressing the 2 button. I want to get enter, and if I am pressing the enter in the calculator, it want to show as a 4. So how this process is carrying by the processor? So whenever we are using the accumulator, accumulators are nothing but they are called processor registers, which are used to do the processing operations. For example, if I'm pressing the letter 2, sorry, button 2, this 2 will be stored in the data register as initial. Next, I want to press button plus. So whenever plus is added, again the data register is updated with the plus. What about that 2, previous value 2? So that previous value will be stored in the accumulator. So we cannot perform register to register operations. So we will use the accumulator as a common component. So we will discuss this operations in the later, how accumulator will work. So present, just remember, accumulator is a processor register which is attached to the processor to do the processing. Now let us come to the IR. It's called instruction register. What is instruction register? So instruction registers are nothing but used to store the instruction code. For example, I have pressed the button plus. What is called plus? Plus is an instruction. That is, I want to do addition. So the CPU does not know what is plus. It only know addition, nothing but ADD, add. So whenever if we want to give any instruction to the processor or instruction to the computer, that instructions are loaded at the instruction register. Similarly, program counter. What is called program counter? I am giving the instructions like 2 plus 2 and pressing the enter. That means a step-by-step operation is working. That is 2, entering the 2. Once the 2 is read by the processor, it want to take the other operand, that is 2 plus 2. And next I want to perform the addition and I want to get the result, and that result want to be stored into the into the some memory and displayed into the monitor. So this entire process, step-by-step actions, we will call this algorithm. Let us take an algorithm or a flowchart or algorithm. So what an algorithm will do, what a flowchart will explain. So a flowchart is used to show the step-by-step pictorial representation of how the program is going to be executed. So these step-by-step operations, one-by-one operations, which line I want to execute. So that instructions are stored in the instruction register. And what is the task of program counter? So program counter is used to identify which instruction I want to execute. So for example, if I'm having 4 instructions in a program, let us take addition of 2 numbers in a C program. Let us take a C program with addition of 2 numbers. So to do that addition of 2 numbers, what I want to do, I want to take 2 variables and load the 2 variables with the 2 values, and then I want to do the addition operation, and again finally I want to store that operation into one other variable, that is resultant variable, and I want to display that variable as an output. So these are some step-by-step instructions, one by one step-by-step program. These step-by-step instructions are be carried by the program counter, that is the next instruction. Okay. Now coming to the temporary register. So what is called a temporary register? So before executing any instructions, so I want to store the previous values. For example, let us take our calculator. So we will use some previous values for the next instructions to operate. So that previous values or the values or the result, we want to use that result for the future calculations. So to do that purpose, we will use the temporary register. TR stands for temporary register. Similarly, IR and that is INPR and OUTR. INPR is used to nothing but input register, so which is accepting the data from the input devices and act as a mediator between the input device and the main memory. And output registers are nothing but which act as a which carries the output from the memory system to the output devices. So these are the different registers we are having. Just try to remember. I will explain where it is used and where these operations are used. Just try to remember what is the different types of registers we are having. And coming to the number of bits, what is this bits? So these bits are nothing but that capacity of that register. What is called a capacity? So the size of the number of bits the register can handle or it can store. So for example, let us take a data register. So the size of the data register is a 16-bit data register. What is called 16-bit? Why it is only 16-bit but not the other value? So always remember, any register is a combination of powers of 2. So it is in the powers of 2 because the binary information is only in the form of 2 format, that is 0 and 1. So binary is nothing but zeros and 1. So these zeros and 1s is in the form of 2 powers. So all the registers are in the form of powers of 2. And this 16-bit or 16-bit or 12 bits or whatever it may be. So this number of bits is depending upon the size of the memory or the size of the RAM what we are using, the type of the RAM what we are using. So this is about the registers and the register components. And let us go for the short overview. Already I have said. So how to represent the registers? How to represent the registers? So registers are represented with the help of the its symbolic representation. That is PC stands for program counter. AR stands for address register. IR stands for instruction register. TR for temporary register. OUTR output register, input register, data register, and accumulator. Okay, so this is about the registers and register configuration. So based upon these registers or by using these registers, how a computer works. So let us deal with the functional components of the computer. My third thing or the that is called operational concepts. So till now we have discussed about what are the input, output, and IO units and processor units in the functional units. And in the registers we have seen different types of registers: data register, address register, accumulators, instruction register, and program counters. All these types. So by using these two things, now we will go for the other concepts in our topic. That is how the operations in a computer is carried out. Let us look about the picture here. I will showing other format. Okay, so this is about a small representation of how data is carried or how the operation is carried or how the functioning of a computer works. So is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us take this structure. So we are having I'm not discussing about functional units here. I am discussing about how the processor is linked with the memory. How a processor is linked with memory. So let us take our memory and we will discuss only with the main memory. Why I am calling it the main memory? So processor always linked with the main memory only, but not secondary memory. Primary memories are linked with processor. So this entire thing, this entire components are called as a processor. I'm dealing this as a processor, and this is called main memory, nothing but our RAM and ROMs. So we will use only RAM here, don't use ROMs. So let us call main memory as a RAM and let it be the processor here. And what are the components inside the processor we are having? So one is control unit. Already we have know what is called a control unit. Control unit will use it to control all the actions which are carrying in a computer. And ALU is used to perform arithmetic and logic and shift operations. That is addition, subtractions, and logical and or nots and shift left, shift right, etc. So we will discuss later. And these two are well known to us. Now coming to the other things. What is a CPU contains? So first, initially, a CPU contains the basic things that are called registers. Simply, we will call it as a general purpose registers, which are represented by R0, R1, R2, R3, so on, Rn minus 1. That means, what is these registers or what are general purpose registers are used? So general purpose registers are used to do operations which are required by the control unit with help of the ALU. So for example, I want to perform 2 plus 2. I want to perform 2 plus 2 in a computer. So how is this 2 plus 2 is done? With the help of the processor. First of all, the processor will store that the value of 2 initially. Let us take 2 plus 2. No, sorry. Let us take 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3. So I want to perform 2 plus 3 operation. So first of all, whenever this RAM is storing the instructions one by one, that is first I want to load the 2 into the RAM. That is the number 2 is loaded into RAM. The control unit will store that value of 2 in some register. First register, let it be R0. Next, what is the next thing? That is I want to do plus operation. I will do the plus. Whenever the control unit is receiving plus from the RAM, so the control will send that plus to the ALU. That is, I am receiving some addition operation. That is, I am receiving some operation to do in the form of addition. So whenever ALU recognizes some addition to do, okay, it will be activated. The ALU is activated now, and the signal is sent back to the control unit. Okay, I am ready to take the addition. Again, the control unit will go for the operand 2. That is, operand 1 is already stored in the register R0. That is 2. And now the second operand, that is number 3. So now the number 3 is storing into the register R1. So now the registers are containing the data. And ALU already get the instruction, that is, I want to do plus operation. Whenever this control unit is receiving that plus operation and sending it to ALU, the ALU will be in the active mode. And now, whenever these two operands are loaded with R1 and R2, sorry, R0 and R1, so the ALU will execute that instruction and finally store that output into some R3 or other register, or it can again store into the R1, R0 whenever it is required. So this is the process. In between these actions or in between these operations, our registers, the other registers which are already discussed in the previous topic, so will come into exist here. So what is MAR, what is MDR, and what is PC and IR? So these four components are very plays very crucial role to do any operation. So in our same example, if we want to do 2 plus 3, so first of all, the RAM want to recognize, the RAM want to identify number of instructions the program can contain. For example, I am writing a C program, uh, taking the two variables initially into A comma B comma C, and taking the input from the input units with the help of the ampersand values, and doing the C equals to A plus B, and again printf and using the scanfs and printfs to taking the input from the keyboard and printing the output in the monitors, etc. So this is a set of program. When you are executing that .c program, the RAM, whenever a RAM contains that .c program, it has number of instructions one by one. That is reading the data into the data variables, executing the data into one variable, and printing that value into the output stream. Now, what is the MDR and MARs are simply the program counters and instructions are used here. What is the initial step? But let us go for the processing here. Initially, the data will be stored into our memory. So, for example, if you're writing any C program, we will save it into any other file system. Okay. So, for example, I am writing a C program and storing it into some D drive. Let us take a D drive. In the D drive, I have stored the file as some program1.c. So I have saved the file as program1.c. Whenever that program is stored into some memory, and I'm executing that. That is, for example, I'm pressing in, I'm going to the keyboard in a command prompt and going for the dot slash a dot out, or going to any turbo C and going for the F9 or F output, that is executing it. So we will get an output in a blank screen, that is enter the value of A, enter the value of B, and the result is let it shows as well as a 5. So how this enter the value of A, enter the value of B, or the result is getting, that is step by step actions are executing in the computer. So this is the basic step or the basic actions or basic registers which will work here. So what is the task of MDR, memory data register, and what is MAR, memory address register? So the first thing here is in our example, I want to store 2 plus 3, and I want to get an output that is 5 in some other variable. So 2
తర్వాత
is,
ఫోన్ చేసి చెప్పారు రేపు పొద్దున రేపు పొద్దున చేద్దాం.
excuse me, can you please mute yourself? So whenever executing the 2 plus 3, initially already our program is stored into some memory. Let it be some drive. So whenever it is storing into memory, whenever we are executing it, that memory, the entire program will be loaded into our RAM. That is called our main memory. Okay, executions of the instructions are carried only in the main memory, that is called RAM. Okay, if you are executing anything in your computer, whatever the screen you are seeing in your computer, all that are executing at the RAM. Okay, so we want to make our RAM free always. I want to make more space for the RAM, then only the instructions will be executed. So when you are executing the C program, so it automatically runs in the RAM. So whenever that RAM identifies that there is some step of instructions are carried out, so what the first step I want to do? I want to load every variable, or I want to load every data into the variable. That is, I want to store that address of that data. For example, a equals to 2. Let us storing that 2 is stored in some variable a. So where is that a? A is located in some memory. So I am having a memory system in my computer. For that memory system, I will allot some addresses. I already have discussed what is called address. Address are used to identify where the data is located in our memory. So the task of MAR, memory address register, is used to load the address of the particular data. That is where the 2 is stored. So I am entering the letter 2. That is enter a value. If it asking letter, enter the a value. So the a is default storing as letter 2. So where the 2 is stored? So 2 is stored in some memory location. That memory location having some address. That address is loaded at the memory address register. And the 2, the value of 2, which is in a binary format. What is the value of 2 in binary format? That is 0010. That 0010 value is stored in memory data register. Now, what is the task of program counter? Program counter is used to identify what is the next instruction to be carried. That is I am loading the data. After loading the data, I want to add operation. That add is also storing in some address. That address is stored at the program counter. The task of the program counter is used to identify what the next instruction is. So there are step-by-step instructions. So we will write algorithm. That is what is the load the values, next do the operation and print that output into output screens. That instructions, the step-by-step instructions are also be loaded in some memory. That memory contains address. That address are loaded at the program counter. And what is the task of instruction? IR register. Instruction register holds the current instruction value. What is the current instruction that is running by the processor? Whatever the processor is executing the current instruction, that value is stored in the IR register. So this entire 4 registers will help us to do the step-by-step process or any program execution in our computer. So these registers are used to store the values. Okay, default values are these are used to store the temporary values in our operations in a computer. So whenever performing 2 plus 3 equals to 5, so whenever result is getting the 5, again there is no 2 value in the register. It want to be cleared. So we will use the clear operations, clear functions in the registers, so that we can clear all the data. So this is how our executions or how our processing will be done. So just try to remember, MAR is used to store the address of the particular register. Address of the particular data. MDR is used to store the data which is related to our processing, and program counter is used to identify what the next instruction to be executed by the processor, and IR is used to store the current instruction. IR stands for current instruction address. PC is the next instruction address. MAR is the address of the data. MDR is the data which is to be processed, and R0 to Rn-1, that is they are called general purpose registers, and ALU which is used to perform arithmetic, logic and shift operations, and control is used to operate all these control functions inside a computer. So this is about my third concept which I am going to do, that is for operational things or operational concepts which are included in our computer system. So do anyone having any doubts in this two concepts, that is registers and registers and functional components? Any doubts? Anyone want to repeat how the process will be work?
Yes, sir. It in brief. Explain in brief, sir.
Okay. So you can see the operation steps here. Whatever I explained in the previous image, just go for the step-by-step process. Just wait for 1 minute. So is my screen visible? Is my screen visible? Okay. Let us see the same thing, that is how this process is going on in a step-by-step things. So initially, already I have said, the program is residing in the memory, which is getting from the input units or input unit, whatever the thing we are giving from the input devices, it is storing into the memory. So execution of the program starts when the PC is set to the point at the first instruction of the program. Already we have known in a C program, we will start our C program will execute starting executing from the main function. Okay, So whenever this main function is identified, it goes start executing. And hello. Hello. Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir. So,
Okay. So execution of the program will start when the PC is starting with the first instruction. Now, what the third step is? The content of the program counter are transferred to the memory address register and the read control signal is sent to the memory. So what is called program counter? What's called program counter? I have said the task of the program counter is used to store what is the next instruction that is going to be executed by the processor. So whatever the processor is going to execute, for example, it want to take the input from the keyboard, that is letter 2, that is the word 2. So that instruction, that program count, what is the program counter instruction, what is the address it is storing. So it is used to transfer the data into the MAR. So first initially the program counter identifies what is the first instruction that is the program want to execute. That instruction value, that instruction address is stored in the MAR. Once the address in the MAR is reading by the processor reads that MAR and finds the data and load the data into the MDR. First identification of the address. So we all know everything about whenever we want to identify any student, we want to first identify the address of the student, then only we will get that student where he is located. So similarly, whenever you want to execute an instruction, first of all, the program counter is read by the processor. Whenever the processor fetches to the program counter, it identifies some instructions. There is some instruction loaded in the program counter. That instruction is pass it to the MAR, memory address register. Once the MAR reads that instruction register, or that is the program counter value, that MAR value where that instruction is stored, the data is transferred to the MDR. So MAR contains only address, MDR contains data. Okay, that is the third step we will see. And after the time required to access the memory lab, the address word is read out of the memory and loaded into the MDR. Already I have discussed what is the task of MDR. Now, the content of MDR are transferred to the instruction register, and now the instruction is ready to executed and executed. So what is the task of IR? What is the task of IR? So whatever the thing the program counter sends to the MAR, that MAR is readed and getting the data into the MDR. So this MDR data, that is whether addition or subtraction or any other operation, that instruction is stored into the IR, instruction register. IR is used to store the current instruction where it is going to execute, and PC stands for the next instruction. What the instruction or the process want to execute. Now, once the IR is loaded with the instruction, so if the instruction involves any operation by the ALU, so for example, if I want to do the plus operation, so it is the work done by the work that want to be done by the ALU. So now the ALU will do the operation, and then operand in the memory is fetched by sending the address to the MAR, and finally the MDR is reading out memory data is reading and transferred to the ALU. And once the ALU is done its task, again the result in the ALU is sending back to the, if the result operation is stored in the memory, the result is sent into the MDR, memory data register. And from that memory data register, we will send back to the data to the MAR, and it is stored into the memory. And what the program counter will do now, it goes for the next instruction, what the processor want to do. So these are the different steps or different processing steps any computer will perform. So hope everyone understand. We will see this same operation with a small example in the upcoming class. So later in the later time, just go through the different concepts related to the registers. Okay, just to understand. Let's go to the concepts in the registers about what is the purpose of the MAR and MDRs, and what is PC and IR. So these four are very important in any processing element. So this is not only the design of a computer, this is the design of your mobile or design of any computer-based technology, your micro ovens or refrigerator, smart devices which is using the processor. Where the processor is used, we will use these registers as a common component to do the operations. So this is the agendas for the today's class. We will go for the buses in the upcoming class because there is no sufficient time for us today. So we'll go for the buses in the next class. Meantime, just to go for any doubts, any problems related to our today's class. Is everything okay to you? So just go through these registers, different types of registers we are having, and what is the, just try to remember number of bits in the registers also, and what is the operations or what is the function of each and every register. So don't ignore it. Very important. These registers are very important. We'll get in this upcoming chapters also about how to work with the computers. We will want to understand what type of registers want to use. data registers, address register, accumulator, instruction register, program counter, temporary register, input register, and output register. Okay. Let us look for the one's syllabus here. We are at the unit 1, and now we are discussing about these 3 topics here, and the entire syllabus, so which we are looking in the screen. So totally we are having the 5 chapters, and each and every chapter is containing sub parts. I divided this chapter into sub parts also. So each and every part is a single chapter in our textbook, which is our prescribed textbook, that is Morris Mano, Computer Organization by Morris Mano. And very important topics which you want to learn as a basics of the computers. So each and every topic will take around 1 week of time for us to discuss, and I want to discuss in depth in each and every topic. Also, I want to do some problematic questions, or I want to give some problematic solutions also for this. And these 5 chapters which are going to discuss in the upcoming classes will give you very strength or very hope in as the basics of the computers. Those who want to go for the hardware or hardware engineers, it is very easiest for you. And this complete syllabus is a core syllabus which are related to you. So hope you will follow this. So please let us have our sections in some fast mode, because if we go for the slow mode, so we are not able to complete our topics and all the topics. So we want to be cover all the topics with a brief example. I will show the each and every topic with a brief example. So please try to concentrate on the topics. As at the starting class, we will go forward for some more time. We'll spend some more time for the unit 1, and later on for the next coming units, we will go for the as a fast mode, because there is so much syllabus we want to cover in a short period. So please try to understand. If anyone having any problems related to my discussion, please share to me. So I will